Hello, welcome to the new video The Love of Milim and Rimuru by BenGrem1234. Chapter 20. Proposal. Rimuru was being dressed for his date with Milim by Xian and Shuna. He was indeed very excited for his date, but he has to go through Xian and Shuna dress-up therapy. They made him their dress doll, which kind of brought down his mood a little. Lord Rimuru, try this one. Xian showed Rimuru a cloth she chose for him, which he tried on. No, Lord Rimuru. You should try this one, Shuna said while handing Rimuru a beautiful cloth she chose. He had no choice but to try it on. Rimuru was getting tired of being treated like their personal dress-up doll. Come on girls, can't you bring a cloth that will match with the evening festival we are having? Both Shuna and Xian, both had a light bulb lit on their head. They looked at each other and nodded before moving to the closest to grab a cloth for Rimuru. They brought the cloth and made Rimuru try it on. After Rimuru put the cloth on, both Xian and Shuna had stars in their eyes. My lord, you look absolutely amazing, Xian said with a little drool. I expected nothing less from you, Lord Rimuru, Shuna said to him. You guys really think it looks that great? Rimuru asked, feeling a little shy. Absolutely. You look just like a goddess in that outfit, Xian shouted. Rimuru had a deadpan expression. I am a guy though. Just then, Diablo entered the dressing room and saw Rimuru in his new yukata. He had the most blazing expression on his face after seeing how beautiful Rimuru looked. I am not worthy to be in your presence, Lord Rimuru, he said in a dramatic way. Humph. It's a good thing that you recognized Lord Rimuru greatness, second secretary, Xian said to Diablo in a cocky way. Foo 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 foo. Of course I know how great Lord Rimuru is. His very existence is divine itself that everyone should worship, Diablo said. I'm glad that you are finally seeing things my way, Diablo, Xian said to him. Both of them shook each other's hand and smiled to the other. Those two really do get along well. But seriously, what kind of plan are they discussing about me while I'm around? I have to seriously keep an eye on those two after this. Who knows the kind of trouble they will cause if they are not watched, Rimuru thought to himself while watching Diablo and Xian. By the way, what brought you here, Diablo? Rimuru asked. Diablo came back to his senses and turned to Rimuru. Forgive my forgetfulness, Lord Rimuru. It is time for you to go to the location that you will be meeting Lady Milim. Is it 7 already? Rimuru asked, confused. No sir, but it seems that Lady Milim arrived a bit early, Diablo said to him. I see. Well, I'm done with dressing, so let's go meet Milim, Rimuru said walking out of the room. Oh right, the rest of you are free to enjoy the evening festival as you see fit, but don't forget about what we planned. We will, my lord, and we won't forget, they all said at the same time. Rimuru nodded and left the room. Once he was gone, Soy and Benimaru appeared inside the room with spatial shift. They looked at the others and all of them nodded their head before moving out to fulfill what they planned. Rimuru headed to a part of the city where a beautiful small pound was. There, he saw a sight that took his breath away. Milim was standing there in the most beautiful yukata he has ever seen. He approached her and saw that she was looking at the pound, checking her hair to see if it was okay. Milim. Rimuru called to get her attention. She slightly jumped from being taken by surprise. She turned and looked at Rimuru and stopped. Milim was looking at Rimuru with a huge blush on her face. Rimuru, you look very beautiful and handsome. Rimuru blushed and smiled. He leaned close to her face and put both of his hand on her waist. You are the gorgeous one, Milim. You literally took my breath away. Milim blushed as well and both of them remained in that position, gazing at each other's eyes. Finally, Rimuru took his hand away from her waist. Shall we? He brought out his hand for her to take. Milim took his hand, not trusting her voice at the moment. Her face was a blushing mess at the moment. Rimuru took her to a sweet restaurant that was selling cake and many more sweets. Milim had stars in her eyes from seeing so many cake on display. The goblina that was selling the sweets came to them and bowed. It is a great honor to have you in my little restaurant, Lord Rimuru and Lady Milim. How may I help you? I have a reservation for tonight, Rimuru said, still holding Milim's hand. It is no secret that Milim and Rimuru are in a serious relationship in Tempest. All the monsters knows about it and the humans who visits the town all had the rumor about it, but they have never met Rimuru or Milim to confirm if the rumor is true. so it was still a speculation to the humans. "Right this way please," the gobliness said to them. She led them to a fancy table that had the VIP tag on top of it. Rimuru, wanting to act like a gentleman, pulled out Milim's seat for her. Milim blushed and looked at Rimuru. "You don't have to do that, you know." "Nonsense. My queen deserves the best treatment I can offer," Rimuru told her. Milim sighed and sat down in her chair with the same cute blush on her face. Rimuru went and sat down in his own chair and picked up the menu. The menu was just filled with different types of sweets that looks very delicious. A human male who was wearing a butler uniform came to their table. "Good evening, Lord Rimuru and Lady Milim. Are you two ready to order?" he asked. Rimuru looked at him and smiled. "It seems that more humans are migrating to Tempest after my declaration to a demon lord. Most likely seeking protection from other stronger nations. It's nice to see them coexisting with monsters together." "Yes, I would like the strawberry cake with the milk cream on top," he ordered. The butler took down notes and turned to Milim. "And you, my lady?" Milim had a hard time picking because everything in the menu looks delicious. She didn't know what to decide. Rimuru, seeing her, could tell what was bothering her. He turned to the butler. "Why don't you bring her the honey cake with cheese? That seems to be this shop's specialty." "Very well then. Your orders will be ready in a moment," the butler said as he left. Milim looked at Rimuru and gave him a small smile. "Thanks for the save, Rimuru. I'm sorry that I couldn't decide on what I want." Rimuru stretched out his hand and took her hand, which was on the table. "Hey, don't worry about it. Tonight, leave everything to me and let me pamper you a little." Milim blushed up a storm from hearing what Rimuru said. "You always know how to make me embarrassed and happy at the same time." "I'm only being honest, you know," Rimuru said with a smile. Their order arrived and both of them enjoyed their cake together. They were having a pleasant conversation with each other while they eat their cake. After they were done, they left the restaurant and headed inside the town where the stalls were. Rimuru took Milim to a shooting store where you win a prize by shooting down the target with 3 shots. "Welcome to my humble stand, Lord Rimuru and Lady Milim. It seems that you two are enjoying your date with each other this fine evening," the store owner said to them with a smile. Naturally, both Rimuru and Milim blushed from hearing that comment. Though, Rimuru composed himself faster than Milim did. "Yes, we are. We would like to try out this shooting game, please. How much will it be?" Rimuru asked. "Please, Lord Rimuru. It's on the house. Now which one of you will like to go first?" the store owner asked. Milim regained herself and took a confident step. "Mew ha 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 ha. I guess it's time for me to shine. I will go first." The store owner gave her the fake gun. "Just knock down 10 target and you get to choose any toy you want." Milim leaned on the counter to take aim at the target. She bent down with her stomach on the counter, which gave the very flustered Rimuru a good view and shape of her ass. "Crap, why does her yukata have to be so tight? I can clearly see everything from where I'm standing." "Control yourself, Rimuru. Deep breath, Rimuru thought to himself with a huge blush on his face. Milim, being ignorant of what she was doing to Rimuru, fired the shots and knocked down the 10 target. She jumped for joy and turned and hugged Rimuru with happiness. Rimuru, seeing her so happy, forgot about his distress and hugged her back. The store owner smiled at the scene. "So, what would you like, my lady?" Milim let go of Rimuru and turned to the store, that one, next to the dragon. The store owner brought the toy and gave it to her. The toy was a Rimuru stuffed doll in his slime form. Milim hugged it to her chest and smiled. Rimuru approached her and took her hand. "Let's go. We still have a lot more fun to have tonight." And so, both of them enjoyed their time together. They visited many stores and shops. Milim had a bright smile trying out all this new things she has never seen before. Rimuru was happy to see that Milim was having a good time with him. Like all good things, this one came to an end. Rimuru was walking with Milim by his side to the center of the city. They approached a very big something that was covered with a brown cloth. The light in the center of the city was off, leaving the only source of light to be the moon. Rimuru turned to Milim and took both of her hands in his. Milim blushed a storm and looked Rimuru in the eyes and saw that the nervousness and determination in them. She was confused on why he was so nervous and she became a little worried. "It's something the matter, Rimuru?" she asked him. Rimuru closed his eyes and breathed in and out before he opened them. Milim, did you have fun tonight? Of course I did. Everything you showed me was amazing, and the best part is that I get to experience it all with you, Milim said with a blush. Rimuru blushed as well and smiled. Well, I have something to show you. What is it? Milim asked him. Rimuru gave the signal to Benimaru and the rest, who were all hiding in their places. Rimuru instructed everyone on what to do to make his surprise for Milim special. And before his date, they had all been setting it up for him. Now it was time to put it into action. It began with Gabiru activating the light in the entire area and Xian and Shuna releasing some flower petals that has been levitating above Rimuru and Milim, which began to gently fall on them. Then Benimaru gave the signal and the cloth was removed from the giant thing that was in front of Rimuru and Milim. The thing was a giant golden statue of Rimuru and Milim, with Milim seating on a giant slime version of Rimuru, and Rimuru was standing close to her in his human form. The statue was very beautiful and the lights made it glow a dazzling rainbow light in the night. Imagine this picture as a golden statue of what I was describing. Milim literally had her breath taken away from her. She couldn't believe her eyes on what she was seeing. This was the most beautiful and wonderful thing anyone had ever done for her. She was very excited and she turned to Rimuru and gave him a passionate kiss. Rimuru kissed her back and both continued to kiss for a few minutes before they separated. Once they separated, Milim looked at Rimuru with love in her eyes. Rimuru, what is all this? She asked him. Rimuru smiled at her. Milim, you know that I'm an otherworlder, right? Well, back in my world, when a man meets the girl that he loves and wants to spend the rest of his life with, he usually gets down on his knees and proposes to her. Milim, I can't ever imagine spending my time without you by my side. You are the light that makes everything in this world seems more fun to me. Every day I spend with you makes me love you more and more. I want us to be together forever and raise a family together. We could rule our nations together, without you or me having to travel just to see each other. I love you so much, Milim, and from now to my very last breath, I will always love you. This days we spend with each other, I will cherish it for the rest of my eternity. I want us to be the kind of couple that many will see and envy. You gave me the will and strength to push forward. Whenever you are in trouble, whenever you are sad or in pain, I want to be the one who can solve all your problems. I want to be the pillar that you can rely on. We will be together forever, you and I will build our nations together and be together forever. You don't ever have to be lonely because I'll always be with you. Just as I will be relying on you, I want you to rely on me. I love you, Milim Nava. With all my heart, he said to her with so much love and passion. Milim had a small tear rolling down from her eyes. She could not express how happy she was. Can you blame her when the one she loves is saying such sweet things to her? She didn't think she deserves Rimuru's love, but she was very happy that he loves her so deeply. Rimuru used his thumb to wipe the tear in her eyes before he continued. What I'm trying to say is this. He brought out a small silver box from his pocket and opened it to reveal a small shining silver ring with a small diamond in the middle of it. Milim Nava, will you marry me? Rimuru asked her. Milim was speechless. She looked at Rimuru, who was still holding the box with the ring, and smiled a very happy smile. Yes, Rimuru. 1,000 times yes. I will marry you. Rimuru was very happy that she said yes. He slides the ring into her finger and pulled her close for a kiss. Just then, Soy gave the signal to activate the fireworks, which began to shoot and light up the entire Tempest Kingdom. Milim pulled away from the kiss and looked up to the sky and saw the beautiful display of fireworks that was lighting up the sky. She felt someone pull her from her waist and saw that Rimuru had pulled her to him in a side hug. She smiled and relaxed, while placing her head on his shoulder, and both of them enjoyed the fireworks display together. Finally, after many struggle, the love of these two demon lords has reached a new level. This is a joyous occasion for them, but trouble is fast approaching. After all, Hinata and the paladins are still on their way to Tempest. And the 7 Days clergy are still plotting behind the scenes. Though, whatever that may happen, so long as these two have each other, nothing can stop them.